I don't expect anyone to come on, but I'm doing my review for Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16 reunion. Okay, and can I tell you, this is part one, and Shamia is proven to be a disappointment. A big disappointment. So let me get on into it, okay? So we open up with Cynthia, Portia, and Phaedra. And they're wondering, well, Phaedra goes to open the door to Britt's room and it's empty. So they're all wondering where Britt is at, okay? And I don't know, I found that strange that they was really worried about Britt. So I don't know. Did they know what was going on? Although they called her, Portia, I think Portia called on the phone, but she didn't answer. But anyway, let's move on. So to the reunion. But as we all know, Britt is claiming that she is devastated and she's healing, and now she has a lawsuit out. And we found out that Britt and Kenya gave a statement about why they not at this reunion. Anyway, and can I tell you, I was kind of, Kenya do her thing. We know Kenya, when she go low. But this right here, what she did to Britt, that was really low. But only to find out that Britt said that wasn't even her in the pictures. Like how? How sway? How? All right. So, okay, so let's move on. First, I want to say, did you see how Shamia looked at Portia when Portia walked out? Like, baby, the tension is there, okay? And then did you see the the face Portia made when Shamia responded to Andy saying, "You are now, you no longer the plus one, but you are the one." Okay, baby, the tension is there, okay? Kelly said Britt caused mass destruction in the friendship group. Like, girl, goodbye. Okay? Y'all kicked her out of the alliance, which we found out about later on in the episode. So Britt was like, oh, that's what we doing? Okay. Hey, Chantel Johnson, how you doing? So Kelly was Britt was like, yeah, that's what we doing. All right, I'm about to tell it all then, right? So Portia let it be known that the alliance was between Shamia, Kelly, and Britt. Now Shamia said she was looking forward to Britt being there because she wanted to hold Britt accountable. Baby Shamia, you need to hold yourself accountable with all these lies you've been telling this season. Okay, because your behavior was very suspect. Hey, Carmen. I hope I said that right. Or Carmine. Hey, how you doing? So let's move on. Excuse my paper sound because I wrote some notes here. Okay. So Britt is supposedly suing Drew Sidora because she found out that Drew Sidora was the one that gave Kenya the pictures that was put on the poster board. And you listen, Drew. Let me tell you about Drew. Drew always got to put herself up in somebody's situation, okay? And I don't understand why. I understand why. She's trying to keep her dog on Peach, okay? Because she ain't really have a. She talking about Portia was a flop. You was a flop too. You had to use her baby daddy for your storyline. So come on, let's keep that. Let's keep that 100, okay? Let's keep it 100. Hey Riz, how you doing? Oh, let me get my papers. I had to plug my phone in because my phone about to die. Find time for me to go live on my phone dying. So anyway, Portia says she came to the reunion with the intentions to be open with each lady and figure out how to move forward or to close the door. Who you think that closed the door was meant for? Shamia, for sure. Shamia, for sure. Then they move on to Kelly. Kelly was doing too much when Portia said, she was describing her divorce and She was saying that her and Kelly were kind of going through the same thing. She went to court and she thought she was going to be divorced and she wasn't, and that happened to Kelly. And Kelly was looking for a moment, in my opinion. The fact that you and Portia had a conversation, which you admit to, about the similarities that y'all was going through in y'all divorce, not comparison, but similarities, okay, was just giving me, I need a moment. And I'm trying to secure my peach. To me, does it matter that she was married 11 months versus 11 years? When you at one point said that your marriage was a whole facade. Didn't you say that on the TV show? Listen, Portia, she wised up and got out early. Okay? Period. All right, so let me see what I got next. Portia, she's the first package. They flashback on the show where Portia was complaining about Drew filming with Dennis, her divorce, and unfortunately her cousin passing away. She talks about the prenup and how the house Simon bought before they got married, but in the prenup, with certain stipulations, it became a marital home. So that makes it her home. And everybody be like, that's his house. No, it's their home. It's the marital home. Simon signed those papers. Right or wrong, Simon signed those papers. So Portia answered the questions about if she was the one that called ICE on Simon. She said it wouldn't benefit her to do that. Now, what y'all think about that? Do you think it would have benefited her if Simon was or was not in detention? So Portia said when, they used to, well, do y'all remember Portia saying, I don't know if this was an interview or was on a show. I think it was an interview she did. She said that when they used to travel, they was always being pulled over to the side and being surrounded by enforcement. So that was a sign. She said she asked Simon to be truthful. He wasn't truthful about what was going on, only to find out he do not have citizenship in the U.S. of A. So here's where I say Shamia was dead wrong, right? So Shamia chimes in, tried to put Portia on the spot and was like, yes, we spoke to you about Simon, and did you do your investigations with him, the scamming thing and all of that before you got married to Simon? But baby, Portia saw right through Shamia and was like, yeah, but you and Gerald, y'all was the one that told me that his money wasn't quite right, so you need to investigate. Shamia face fell to the floor. So Portia, she said she did her due diligence. It was over 9 months that they did this prenup. So she paid to make sure she was Simon wasn't scamming her. But baby, Portia scammed the scammer. Anyway, Shamia, she did so it was a thing where they said Shamia introduced Portia to Simon because it was said by Portia that she was a great match. Portia had posted, great, you a great matchmaker. Did y'all get that Shamia and Portia was playing semantics and holding information back? Because I sure got that. Okay. So Portia and Drew. We on to Portia and Drew. Hey, Carlos. So we get into Portia and Drew. So Portia said, you need to worry about who's flip-flopping with Ralph in the basement. This is because Drew said that Portia coming back was a flop. And she said, Simon says you don't have a storyline. And Portia was like, Dennis is my storyline. Listen, at the end of the day, Drew, you ain't really have a storyline. You ain't have a storyline. So Andy asked Drew, was there other producers in Atlanta that she could have used outside of Dennis? And that's the $1 million question. And in my opinion, there was a motive there. Like, she wasn't filming with Ralph. They ain't really have no scenes together. And to be honest, Drew ain't really have too many scenes with Dennis outside of them being in the studio. So this whole thing was a whole scam in my damn opinion, okay? So Portia said that Drew's music was some good music. And then Drew goes into talking about Portia hair brand on the Breakfast Club. Portia was upset about that. And Drew was like, well, when you poke the bear, you can't get mad when I come back. Now listen, Drew. You was looking so much better when you had on Go Naked hair. That's just my opinion, okay? So Portia gets up to hug Drew to apologize to her. She said, although she felt like it was the right thing to do at the time, it didn't feel good. And she said her meeting with Ralph was a petty thing, but it wasn't right. So listen, the next segment goes and them talking about Britt. And I said Britt should have just brought her behind to this doggone reunion. So Kelly got to paint the narrative that you could not afford a team and you wanted her life. And you wasn't there to defend it. So I don't even know what to say, Britt. But you should have been there. Hopefully you win this lawsuit. If there's a lawsuit, okay. I think I saw a post with her saying how she's healing and she's not coming back to a place that made her sick. Talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta. Oh, girl, good luck. So Portia brings up the alliance because Britt wasn't there to tell it. But Britt told her everything. Portia brings up the alliance with the newbies, Shamia, Kelly, and Britt, with plans to take down Portia. So Shamia decides to speak up about this alliance. And she says it's true in the beginning there was an alliance, but this alliance included Portia. And Portia was like, I was not aware of that. And Shamia was like, let me finish. And the explanation that Shamia gave, it just proved Portia's point. That y'all was talking about Portia and taking her down. So, hold on one second, y'all. I'm back. My bad. So Shamia was like, yeah, so we were in Houston at the restaurant. And I was like, yeah, we're young. We're fun. But I need y'all to get to know Portia before y'all go hard on her. And I need y'all not to go hard on her. So does that not sound like y'all had a plan to take Portia out? In my opinion. And if Portia was part of the alliance, why wasn't she at that dinner? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. She just proved to be a big disappointment. And to me, Shamia just told on herself. She told on herself. All right, I'm reading the rest of my notes. That's why I'm kind of pausing. All right, let me go on to the next page. Portia, let me see. Sorry about that, y'all. Hold on one second. So we get back to talking about Britt. Again, Britt, you should have been there. Kelly reveals that, she let Britt use her stylist and once and told Britt, um, wait, hold on. My notes is kind of scrambled here. Oh, Kelly reveals that the stylist was the one that told that told Britt about Kelly's ABs, if y'all know what that means. And Kelly said it was a conversation she didn't want to have with her daughters. And here goes Andy. Did you ever have the conversation with your daughters? And she was like, no. So conversation null and void. Okay. So Kelly talks about her bodyguard, and Portia chimes in and said, well, it's two different reasons that she has the bodyguard. And she said it's because her ex, and then she found out that people was telling her that Kelly actually did not need the bodyguard because she's just doing it for the show. Kelly said it's not for the show. She'd rather pay her bills than a security guard. So the next question basically said about Kelly, like your priorities are all screwed up. Like you can get your child designer bags and groom your dog, which costs thousands of dollars, and pay for infusions for Brittany and her husband. Meanwhile, you got this lawsuit going about unpaid rent. Baby, I'm not really liking Kelly. Like, Kelly's trying too hard. Okay, then they got Angela's package, and I said, what a flop. The evidence she came with was a dud. Phaedra's brother went to school with the guy's aunt, and that's not enough. And the worst part is that Angela admitted that the guy blamed it on everybody, from Kelly on down, but she decided to narrow in on Phaedra. And I'm like, listen, no disrespect, but Angela would not be feeling this way if Charles didn't make her feel insecure about their relationship. There is definitely some insecurities in their relationships. So, did y'all see the interview with Charles? I can't remember who he did this interview with, but basically he was like, we went to Vegas to get married, and I think somebody put something in my drink, right? So Angela had to come back and on her video looking like Charles was being held hostage. I need you to say this because you done embarrassed me, you know? It was just shameful. It was shameful. Okay. And did you see the confessionals when Charles was asked, do you love your wife? And he didn't even want to give no answers. Like, what is going on? At the end of the day, if y'all going to show a united front, you need to communicate that with each other because y'all looking crazy on this TV screen. So Angela decides that Phaedra came up with this quote unquote scheme because Phaedra was trying to secure her spot. And Phaedra was like, I ain't trying to secure no spot because I got a guaranteed contract. Basically saying, and what you got, Angela? Because Angela was on an interview and said she hasn't been invited back yet. But anyway, they ended part one with Phaedra and Angela with her fake phony receipts because that was nothing. But as y'all know, on the internet, and basically, I think her name Michelle ATLian Brown was the one who talked to the guy who had mad receipts on Angela, talking to them and damn near coercing the guys to make them say that it was Phaedra. I'm just saying what I saw on the internet. Okay. But anyway, the next episode of the reunion, we gonna see Shamia and Portia going back and forth. And I'm interested to see that because I heard Portia gave it to Shamia. But anyway, that's all I got. Thanks, guys, who joined my live. This is my first live. I appreciate you all. Riz said he loved me. Okay, I love you too, I guess. Thanks for subscribing. Hey, Carlos. And I'm out, y'all. Peace.